Hey guys, it's Greg Town, host of the podcast Go Time, where every week I sit down with some of the top leaders of their industries and professions, and they share with you how they became the trendsetters of their industries. It's Go Time. All right, everybody, this is Greg Town with GT Training Systems, and I have the privilege and the honor of sitting next to not only somebody I consider a personal friend of mine, somebody that I've reached out to and chatted about with business stuff, but he is also, believe it or not, my mechanic, and I kind of met him in a very unusual way because I just want to introduce everybody here to Scott Welsh. Scott, you definitely have built up your business definitely different than what we see traditionally with most automotive repair facilities.
Yeah, tried really, really hard. In fact, this month, December of this year, we're celebrating our 13th year in this facility and business. I've been in this business for a long, long time, and I learned a lot of things along the way. And some of those things are that basically, no matter what business you're in the business to serve people.
Awesome. So how did you get started in the automotive repair facility business?
Well, actually, I wasn't in this line of business to begin with. I came from another sector of business, but had an opportunity to work for Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company when I was 21, and I moved a long distance to go to work for them. I really loved it. Worked up through the ranks, then left that company after many years and opened my own business. And down the road, here we are, 13 years later, at Courtesy Auto Service and Tire of Tacoma. So really love what I do, taking care of people, and love the crew I have, and love the clients I have. And Greg, you're one of my best clients.
Well, I think my vehicle makes me one of your best clients.
It helps.
Yeah. So what was it like when you first got started in being a business owner?
Well, I thought, going into a business, I thought, well, I know a lot of stuff. Okay, I've been around a long time. I know the retail business. I know the consumers. I understand the products and the services and those kinds of things. The one thing I thought I knew was how to really run a business, but there's a lot of other things about running a business that you kind of learn on the fly. You have to be dedicated. You have to really want to work hard. You have to have good business ethics. But there's lots of things you got to learn. When it comes to, handling personnel, taxes, payroll, leases, equipment acquisition, capital expenses, banking, bookkeeping. You need to be pretty sharp. You need to be about as sharp as your accountant is understanding your own business. You need to understand your business financially. Those are the areas I was weak in, and those are the things that I've learned over the years. It took me a few years to kind of get those things under my belt, but I've learned a lot, but also I've sought the help of professionals, which is really, really important. Trusted professionals, people I've gotten to know that can help me with my business. I look at my business as like a big football team. You got guys that are on the front line that are throwing the blocks and opening up the line day to day, but then you've got people on the bench that you have to rely on. You got people behind the scenes, your offensive line coach or your defensive line coach or whatever. Those are your attorneys and your CPAs and your bookkeepers and your marketing people, things like that. That's what their expertise is. And I've learned to quit micromanaging and try to do everything myself and rely on those people to help me, advise me, and get me on the right track. So it's helped me a lot with my business.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I've noticed about you that makes you different about other businesses or your competition, for lack of a better word, is actually how much you've gone out. You're an active member with your local networking group, Network of Tacoma, if I remember correctly. You're very active with the chamber. You get very active with the community.
I think it's really important to be a really active member of the community that you serve. I think that you need to make friends. You need to let people know who you are, where you are, what you stand for. I like people. I like to meet people. I like to learn about people. I like to learn what people do. And it's really amazing that there's so many different things that people do and how they make a living. Unless you're out there and you're asking, and I'm not an extrovert in any way, shape, or form, but I'm really interested in understanding the business landscape. I'm interested in understanding other people's business. I'm when I serve a customer through my facility in auto repair, if I'm dealing with a business, I have to understand that their success depends really on me. I need to make sure that we expedite their repairs so that they can be out making money. Okay, and I think being involved in a networking organization where you have you can learn a lot about business. You can learn a lot about the people that do business in your community and the things that they like to do, and get involved with charitable organizations in the community and give back where you can, and use your presence in the market as a vehicle to help those organizations. I think it's super important. Helps a couple things. It makes you feel better, but it also helps brand you as a place that really cares about the community you live and work in. And that's really what we are. It sounds a little corny, but my business is about just serving the community we live in.
How do you view that you do business differently than your competition?
Well, what I just talked about, being involved in the community, and everybody's involved in some way, shape, or form in their community. I like to think that I'm a little bit more aggressive in that means, but when it comes right down, that's helpful and differentiates us a little bit. But doing business, we do business a little bit differently. We use some techniques and we use some communication tools for our customers and clients that are unique, that you don't find every day in similar facilities. We try to market ourselves without discounting ourselves. I think it's really important that you understand your value and not be afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
And not be afraid to show it, not be afraid to prove it. But you have to have the tools and things like that really substantiate that. So we've got some tools via iPads, digital tools, communication tools that help our customers understand their needs better, help them make decisions better for car repair and maintenance repair, which differentiates us. It really does. It differentiates us in a way that I think is really positive, because it not only makes us more efficient within the business and consistent, but it sets us apart from our competitors.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most important things when it comes to marketing, in my opinion, is differentiation.
Okay. What have been some of the best lessons that you've learned being a business owner and a business leader?
Well, don't panic if you have a bad day. Is one of probably the biggest things. I mean, you got to take a look at, you've got a day, a week, a month, you've got 12 months in a year, you've got a fiscal year, however that might fall. And knee-jerk reactions don't solve problems. Knee-jerk reactions only temporarily fix problems in the immediate thing, but they're not long-term fixes. So my suggestion is to don't panic if you have a bad day. Don't panic if you have a bad week. Take a look at the month. Where are you at? Make sure that you consistently track whatever your key performance indicators might be in your particular industry. You need to track those things that you have control over, that you can make small tweaks to, that you can work on with your team to get yourself back on track to realize the goals that you've met. Have a set of goals that everybody understands. Communicate those on a regular basis. And then if you do that on a regular basis and you don't panic if you have a bad day, you'll be pleasantly surprised, because your month will end up okay. Then your quarter will be better. Then your year will come in where you want it to come in. So that's one thing I've really, really learned. I think that was your question, right?
Yeah.
What did I learn? Okay. So that's my answer.
A lot of times when I'm working with my own personal team in the real estate world, or within working with other companies and stuff, I refer to as you've got to know your business math.
Yeah.
And your business math is, what is the activities that needs to be done? What are the things we can measure What are the things we can control, we can measure, so that we got the right activities that leads into.
Yeah, measuring your successes is really important. I mean, I learned a long time ago. Everybody tries different marketing things or advertising things, and many of them you can't really measure. You don't have a measure of return on investment, And there's a lot of things you can waste a lot of money on. There's a lot of things that you can't measure, but there's a lot of things you can do that are very low cost, which are very measurable, which have a high return on investment, to attract new customers. But here's the key: when you attract a new customer, is that just a new customer today, or is that a customer that you want to have forever? You have to have systems in place and things in place, the differentiation that makes you different, to keep that customer coming back to you. What I love to see is to have a customer grow with me, and then when that kid was 12 and now all of a sudden he's 16 and driving, his kids are coming to me to have their cars done.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like the family tradition kind of a thing, the trusted family member that's not the family member.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's, I've got customers like that. Like you, Greg, I feel like you're family, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. What are some of the systems that you put in place, because every business, we need to have systems in place for us to make sure we do that follow up and that staying connected, staying in touch. What are some of the systems that you guys have in place for that?
Well, from a standpoint of my business, I have an extensive Google spreadsheet that I've developed and created that measures many key performance indicators, that has daily input, that has a daily output of the information we need. And we can see if we're lacking in certain spots, if we're off by a car a day, we're off an hour in build hours, if we're off in gross profit, little things like that, so you can make small adjustments throughout the month as needed to accomplish your goals, or maybe make a push in a certain area for marketing, whether that be email marketing or that be customer follow-up or promotion or something like that. So that helps us implement that stuff. I communicate that with my key people on a daily basis. On a weekly or bi-weekly basis, I will communicate with my automotive technicians their efficiencies, their production, challenges that we've encountered, asking for their input on solving problems. Tell them where they're doing great, tell them where they're at compared to the rest of the group. Just to kind of gauge them and make sure that they feel involved in everything. And then we constantly, so day in and day out from a standpoint of our business, that's kind of what I do, or what we do to kind of keep tabs on stuff.
Okay. One of the things I've noticed about your facility, and I'm not sure if it's normal within the industry or if you just have set a new bar or a level of expectation, but I noticed that the guys that you have working with you and for you, and your team members and stuff, I've noticed that to me it's like they've been there since at least the 10 plus years or so that I've known you. Is that typical within your field or your industry, or do you have do you just mean
Well, I don't know that it's typical, but I want it to be typical for my business, because I think it's really important when my customers do business with me that they keep doing business with the same people.
Yeah.
And it's really super important to me. It kind of it makes me feel good if it used to be where I'd want people to come in and ask for me, and now if they see me, they're like, "Are you the new guy?" They have a really great relationship with Bob, my sales manager. Okay, so Bob is kind of the face of the business at the front counter. He interacts with most of the people. Doug handles the service production. I kind of I handle a lot of that too, and I can do a lot of that, but I've stepped a little bit back from that to try to run my business rather than let my business run me. Is it typical for that to happen? I think in a really good facility, in an automotive business, I think it's typical, but I don't think there's a lot of those typical businesses within the automotive industry. There's a lot of short time thinkers, in my opinion. There's a high turnover of people, for a variety of reasons: lack of proper management, lack of motivation, lack of people want to get into something else. There's a real lack of talent coming into the automotive industry from a technical standpoint.
Really?
These days. Yeah, it's really, really difficult to find people that are very good that want to do what we do. But when you get them, you take care of them, and they stick around, and you appreciate them. You let them know.
What do you see that's changing in your field or in your industry? What do you see coming along the horizon?
Well, there's a lot of technical stuff that's coming down the pike. You know, a lot of more electronic type controls for cars. There's new electrical charging systems being developed. They're going to be implemented in the next 5 to 10 years. And some really highly technical things. I mean, everybody's heard about self-driving cars.
Yeah.
There's telematics that are out there that, you know, it's like virtually reading the weather on the road, you know, and compensating systems within the car based on conditions that you're driving in. So that's really, really highly technical. So, you know, I'm looking at this going like, well, in 10 years, is my business going to be relevant? Okay, is my business going to be relevant? What capital expenditures am I going to have to make? What kind of investment and training am I going to have to make? And then the other thing that scares me is that you don't have a really strong trade school type training program anywhere in the United States that really addresses these things and brings people through a program that brings people in the market to work. Now you've got car dealers which will invest a lot of money. I can't compete on their level, you know, but they invest a lot of money from the manufacturing standpoint, Ford, Dodge, whatever that is, to train them on their specific products, not necessarily broad scheme. So there's a shortage of technical ability now that's really, really good because people have left the automotive technical or technician business and gone into other things, and there's not as good programs out there, and there's not as many people out there to come out of school back into the market. So that's concerning for me.
What type of trainings do you see coming up and coming about, or changes in trainings that are needed?
Well, I take every opportunity to train the people I have because I want the guys that I have working for me to stick with me, you know, and we do that a lot. But you know, there's community colleges throughout the state that have automotive programs. Frankly, some of the guys that come out of these, I don't know if the program's not that good or if their desire to learn it wasn't that good, but they've got a long ways to go. Okay, so I think promotion through just ongoing, you know, automotive technicians are like doctors. You got to keep going back to school and learning new stuff. You have to invest in your trade and your career. So I don't know what the answer is, but people need to keep going to train. They need to invest in it. They need to really desire to do it. They have to be passionate about doing it well. You know, there's a few people out there that want to do it really, really well, and there's other ones out there that just want to turn wrenches and hang parts. Turning wrenches and just hanging parts isn't really what, you know, it's about. That's not how you take care of customers. You have to be a problem solver. If you can't think outside the box, ask the right questions, and have critical thinking skills and have the desire to do that, it's hard to really make a super great living in this business. But when you can do it, you can make a really good living.
Yeah, it's interesting. I see that a lot with all the different types of industries I refer to as being perfecting your craft, whatever that craft may be, whether that is in the automotive world, business world, which, you know, in my opinion, all of us are in the business world and stuff. And so it's very, very interesting insight.
Yeah, you have to perfect your craft no matter what that is. You know, you have to be the best you possibly can be, and you have to be better than your competitor, and you have to think about this down the road. You can't think about just today, but you got to think about, you know, next month, next year, where we're going to be in 5 years. What's that landscape going to look like? You know, and it doesn't really concern me. I think that I like to think of myself as an innovative thinker. I'm sure I'll come up with a solution to that problem because I think of myself as a problem solver.
Yes.
So, you know, we'll get there.
Yep. Awesome. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much, Scott, for joining us today.
All right.
I mean, it is definitely, I can see the passion that you have for not only just your industry, but for your business. And, you know, I hate to call them, you know, employees. I think they're more of your team members and stuff. And I definitely, you know, I'm glad that that I'm connected with you both personally and professionally. As you said, it's like I view you as family as much as you view me as family, and definitely looking forward to the great things happening for both of us in 2017.
You got it, man. 2017 is going to rock, and if you're in business, just do the best you possibly can, and keep your nose to the grindstone and be passionate about it, and don't be reckless.
Yep.
Don't be reckless. Make the money before you spend it.
Yes.
That's probably the best advice I can give anybody.
Mm-hmm. That's not out of a repeat of 2009.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you. Oh, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Greg, for asking me to be on your podcast, man.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming
I
out.
hope it's a very big success, and feel free to ask me anytime.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right.